They believed that you were behind the house giving.
Don't stop loving us. Don't stop, baby. Please. Let's swallow our sins and, oh Christ, praise Jesus.
Damon here with Complete Media. I want to thank you for coming and rocking with me one more time. Today I'm going to be doing a reaction of Judge Joe Brown. This is a wedding event that happened, and I don't know, I saw something about someone was being a lush and someone went a little bit ham at the wedding reception, so this will be interesting. It's not going to be your typical vendor being sued. It looks like it's going to be a guest at a wedding sued. And as always, hashtag not legal advice. I'm just a guy that runs a company that likes watching court shows, and I like to correlate everything. Correlate. Shout out to John Witherspoon.
Well, the secret is you got to coordinate. Most people don't coordinate. So you got to coordinate. Yes, that's what you did.
Correlate everything together using my experience. So I'm going to go ahead and check out this video right here. It comes from a channel called Gray Disciple, and I am just assuming, it's just my sinking suspicion that Gray Disciple is not affiliated with Judge Joe Brown or with the television station. I watched a couple seconds of the video already, and it's laced with copywritten music. And so I have to edit those parts out so that I don't get hit with the strikes.
With the strikes!
I'm just going to read what it says. It just says, drunk maid of honor wrecks wedding. Judge Judy laughs, Judge Joe Brown classic case. That's what it says. Judge Judy laughs, Judge Joe Brown classic case. I don't know if Judge Judy is reacting to it. Not exactly sure. But we are going to get into it right now.
A bride's after party becomes an affair to forget. Home Health Aid Candace Ayers is suing her maid of honor for rental car repairs. Defendant Jessica Short says the plaintiff's actions caused the accident. Now it's Joe time.
Let's see, Ms. Ayers, you say Miss Short ruined your wedding reception.
Yes.
Let's see, she got drunk and ultimately crashed into your rental vehicle.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
June 11th, last year, you say you were having a wedding reception and the defendant was a bridesmaid.
Actually, she was my maid of honor.
Maid of honor. Oh, wow. What happens at this wedding reception? It seems from my reading of it that it's got a little bit adventurous.
Well, it actually wasn't the reception. It was after the reception.
After reception.
Right.
Oh, so they did the after party.
After the show, it's the after party then. After the party, it's the hotel lobby then.
Before we got ready to leave for our honeymoon. And that's where the accident and the altercation
but it
progressed.
leads up.
Accident and altercation.
Innuendos and accusations and somebody, neither one of you storming away from the place. So
Correct.
let's see. What brings on all this commotion?
Before we even got to my house, when we were at the physical wedding reception, Miss Short was outside with my husband along with his associates and not in the bridal party with us. None of the pictures that we took as a group she was even affiliated with because she was outside.
Hold on a second. She said, I'm going to rewind this back, but she said she was outside with her husband and his associates. I don't know what that means. While they were taking pictures. So she's mad that the bridesmaid wasn't there, but not mad that your husband wasn't there. Doesn't make any sense to me unless it's just bridesmaid pictures, but that's kind of strange. I'll just bring this back just to make sure that I understand her correctly.
Physical wedding reception.
Nobody can say the
was
word
outside
wedding.
with my husband along with his associates and not in the bridal party with us. None of the pictures that we took as a group she was even affiliated with because she was outside.
But you said bridal party, so that would automatically mean that your husband should be there. So why is she getting mad at her for not being there and her husband is okay being outside? It's kind of strange.
With the guys drinking.
Now, what about the other woman that got upset that, for some unknown reason, the way you put it, she gets all worked up in a huff and storms out the front
I don't
door?
think she
That
said the
would
word
also
huff.
be because of Miss Short.
Man, Kenny Short is causing all kinds of
told her
problems.
the conversation that was happening in front of the building,
Allegedly.
she immediately assumed that someone said something about her. I said, we were having a conversation. You were back behind the house for a long time, and they believed that you were behind the house giving. She, in turn, flew off the deep end and said, you said that I was giving behind the house, and I'm going to go and verify what happened.
I'm not even going to comment on giving the beep behind the house.
This darling young man has volunteered to say grace.
Dear Lord, well, thank you for giving us such a succulent meal. Don't stop loving us. Don't stop, baby. Please don't stop.
You can use your imagination on that, but who cares about this in this case? This is all backstory just to make for good TV.
So she storms up to the porch to my brother-in-law and tells my brother-in-law that he said that she was behind the house.
Getting some.
How many times she gonna
And
say
that
that?
one of the other people that was in our wedding party that she was also at my house with told her that.
You say she denied it. She approached her husband and his friends and started a huge verbal altercation. I broke it up and a friend of ours got upset, started walking down the street. I took Jessica inside. She was crying and needed to go to sleep. My husband, who was still very heated from the altercation, was outside. We decided to continue on our honeymoon to Hawaii and leave Jessica at our house, all right?
That is correct.
What
Right.
do you do?
I was pulling out the driveway and she had came out the house again trying to leave. So I told her to turn her car off and she said she would. I pulled out the driveway. I maybe got 3 houses from our house, turned on the turn signals to pick up the person that was walking away, and she smacked into me.
So she took off and somehow or another she rams into you. How far
Yes.
down the street were you?
2.5 houses from my driveway.
Well, how did she get from the front door back out into her vehicle and then hit you by the time you managed to go 3 doors down?
I explained to, as I previously said, I told her to walk up to the door. I seen her physically walk out of her vehicle. I was under the impression that she was going in my house to sober up.
But she got awful quick in the time to get you from there to
Jessica
there.
drives fast. Anybody that knows Jessica, that's her normal.
So she just ran up
speed
behind
light.
you.
Yes. I mean, you can see from the damage of the vehicle. I also bought a copy
It's on
of the police
the
report.
left rear bumper.
Actually, the whole bumper came off. And
So if she has a police report, this is all just for TV. If she has a police report, then the police report would state that the other girl was driving and that she ran into her. So again, this is all for TV. Like, just get to the case. This is a fender bender case. I don't even just. It's a wedding, so I'm probably going to leave it just for content. But it's just a fender bender case, man. Come on.
It's only a little fender bender. I'm sure they'll work it out.
It looks like we've got an impact here from the rear.
yes, we do.
All right.
Not to mention, because she hit us so hard in the back,
And she was
the
drunk.
champagne exploded inside the vehicle. And
All right.
also
You shouldn't have had the champagne in the vehicle.
Yes.
Okay. I've got your claim
Okay.
for damages here.
There we go.
It exceeds the jurisdiction limit, which is $3,000 in Ohio. So,
Correct.
all right, let's
Okay.
go to the.
So real quick, I do want to touch on that. Hashtag not legal advice. I'm just giving you my understanding of it. In every jurisdiction, you have a limit that you can sue in small claims court. You can always go to a higher court, but then you typically cannot represent yourself. In small claims, you can represent yourself. And I guess in this jurisdiction, the limit that you can sue somebody for is $3,000. So if you win your case, if let's say, for instance, in this case here, it looks like it's almost $7,000 worth of damages. The plaintiff is suing the defendant for the maximum, which would be $3,000. So if the plaintiff wins, then she can only get $3,000. And if she wins, she can't go later and say, well, wait a minute, I only got $3,000. It's going to cost almost $7,000. You win your state statutory maximum. And so that's what it looks like is happening here. I guess she doesn't want to find a lawyer, or a lawyer doesn't want to represent her for this case because it's really not, we'll say, worth the lawyer's time.
I'm worth it. Baby, I'm worth it.
Defendant, what do you have to say about this?
Well, first, Your Honor, may I please address the pictures? It was really convenient of her to pick a picture with just me holding a drink. Everybody involved was having drinks because it's a wedding. It was
She's on the drink too.
To the events that happened after the reception.
And you do look sauced.
The lesbian or whatever, the one who was supposed to be the best man, but she got kicked to the side. But that's something totally different.
What is she talking about? Who
She
said anything about a
left
lesbian?
the reception with me, Your Honor. We then went to go pick up my son, take him out to my mom's house because she was calling me about a babysitter. I wasn't even supposed to have been at the reception as long as I was, but we started having a good time and everything. Honestly, at the beginning of the day, I had already made up my mind that after the wedding, I was out because I wasn't dealing with her anymore. She was a complete bridezilla, and not to mention all the information that I found out while we was waiting for her to arrive.
What does this have to do with you hitting her car?
That, she was charging her bridesmaids 3 times what the shoes cost. Charging them $60, and then we found out she was going down the shoe show paying $19.99 for the shoes.
Ooh, ooh, dang, she gets put her on blast. It's, you know, it's a, you can do that. You know, it's commerce driven there. That's our country's founded on commerce. So you could do that. I don't think it's the best thing to do, but she could do that. And yeah, I guess if you find out, then you get put on blast in national TV. That's how it happens sometimes.
At any rate,
but it's only $60.
Her mom ended up getting robbed that day because she whipped out her wallet to repay somebody who had paid Candace $60 when really they got $19.99.
Cares.
At any rate, we left the reception. I went to drop off my son to my mom, and then we went back over to her house. Once we arrived at her house, it was me and my passenger. She was there, her husband was there, and I want to say either 3 or 4 of his family members, friends, cousins, brothers, whatever. She and I and the other female were in the house. We were in there, and I had a beer, so I went around the back to throw my beer in the trash can.
and all those champagne.
The conversation started in the back, so I was in the back a period of time. I came to the front, and a comment was made, so yes, I did address the situation because I had to let everybody in the situation know nobody out here can afford me, for starters, okay? None of y'all. None of y'all, okay? That's just first of all.
That doesn't sound too good right there.
And they all knew. I've been trying to get.
So what you're saying is, allegedly, those services could be for hire if the price is right.
The price is wrong.
Again, allegedly, that's what it sounds like to me. Can't nobody in here afford me to do what she said that I did, or to do what she says that I did. But if you could afford me, all bets are off. Allegedly.
She's talking about people with no teeth here, Your Honor. My truck was wrecked total. I paid to get my car back in driving condition, and then I paid off the balance on my truck and got a new truck. That's why Miss Ayers here is upset, because I have a new truck, and maybe she's borrowing her mom's car. I don't know. We haven't been in contact that often.
What was the
Guess you should have got rental car insurance.
Let me get to the argument. Miss Ayers claims that I was inside of the house. No. We were all in the driveway. Myself, her husband, everybody. Everybody involved was in the driveway.
Did you hit her car or not, dude?
At this point, either. She was asking. Her husband got into an argument because she was like, baby, what your brother's going to do? Your brothers need to leave, because they didn't want to leave. And then he gets all upset. He's like, why you worried about my brothers? Why you worried about my brothers? Throws a lit black and out into her face. I'm standing near. All I see sparks flying. So then I jump up to her. I jumped up to her like, hold on, calm down. I jump in between her and her husband.
Like, this is good TV.
He proceeds to assault me. He puts his hands on my throat and pushes me back, Your Honor. So at that point, yeah, I did go to my car, and I was irate. I was crying. His brother came to my car, tried to apologize and everything, like, I'm sorry, all of this is for nothing. They tried to say something was going on behind the building, but everybody know you don't mess with nobody out here because they all try to get at me.
None of that is true.
Except for the dude that you got a son and the other dude you got a daughter with.
So there's some specific questions. Hold on. Now, you say that you became concerned about the one that was riding with you.
Correct.
And she walked off down the street.
Yes,
so you
in the midst
went
of this
after
altercation between her and her husband, she went walking down the street. I was in my car because, like I said, I was assaulted. I was crying. I went to my car to retrieve my weapon, honestly. I'm not even going to lie to you.
No, don't say that.
I didn't go to police because
you're under oath, so this can be used in other proceedings.
Well, Your Honor,
Hashtag not legal advice. Do not say anything under oath that I guess you don't need to. If the judge asks you a specific question, then answer that question. But you don't have to incriminate yourself. By incriminate yourself, I mean what was just said. I was going to my car to get a weapon to commit assault on somebody. Then is that weapon registered? Because that could also be a felony, carrying a weapon without a proper license. There's so many pitfalls that go into saying a statement like that. That's why they say you probably should hire a lawyer. But really, she just should stop talking. Like, just, it's a fender bender case.
You scratched my car!
Where?
Right there!
Oh, there. That's already there.
You either hit them or you didn't hit them. You are either liable or you're not liable. All this other stuff doesn't matter. I was assaulted, somebody choked me, somebody lit a Black and Mild and threw it in my face. So, did you call the cops? Did you tell the police this? Is there any way that you can corroborate? She got me messed up. Any way you could corroborate this statement that you're making? Is there something that can back up what you're saying? Because if not, then
it doesn't matter what you think. What? Wow.
You got two things. There was an accident, and who is liable? That's it. That's it. Stop talking.
Listen to the question. Is it or is it not the fact that you left in your vehicle to go after the person that was riding?
Yes
My
or no?
passenger, yes, sir.
The
That's
Yes or
correct.
no?
L-word type that we've
Yes,
identified.
sir, that's correct.
All right. Now, the circumstance that we are talking about from the plaintiff's perspective is that she's in front of you and rear ends you.
Correct.
Is that what happened?
Correct. I did rear end her.
But you say she was behind you and cut in front of you and came to a
No,
stop
sir.
suddenly.
No, sir. Both of our vehicles were in the driveway. The way her house was
Now, I'm
set
talking
up.
about when you're driving down the
No,
street.
she
I don't
didn't
want
cut
to
in
hear
front of
about
me.
driving out
She
and you
was in front
backed
of me the
out.
whole
Okay.
time. She was
Now,
in front of
was
me
she
the whole time.
behind you or in front of you?
She was in front of me.
Why do you say she's drunk? Or are you exaggerating?
No, I am not
Well,
exaggerating.
see, what I'm interested in is this. The police officer arrives on the scene, does an investigation. What he
Correct.
says is that you made a sudden left turn, according to your statement to him, trying to get into the driveway that was immediately in front of you, swerved, and she couldn't stop in time, didn't see the signal, and ran into you.
See, that's different. So usually with car accidents, if you rear end somebody, it's almost a guarantee that the person that rear-ended the other is going to be at fault. You should have traveled you should be within a safe distance of the other vehicle. That's typically what happens. There are exceptions, and that's what Judge Joe Brown is talking about now, where if someone, let's say, you're driving and then they cut in front of you and slam on their brakes, or they cut in front of you and then they do a left turn in front of you, well, you would have still rear-ended them, but they did something that's illegal, which caused you to rear-end them. So this is very interesting, even though it's a fender bender case, and I really don't like reacting to these. It was supposed to be about a wedding reception, but here we go. And so now that I've only got 2 minutes left, I might as well finish it out. But it sounds to me like Judge Joe Brown is going to rule in favor of the defendant, which is interesting. Usually that does not happen when someone rear ends another vehicle.
Says is that you made a sudden left turn, according to your statement to him, trying to get into the driveway that was immediately in front of you, swerved, and she couldn't stop in time, didn't see the signal, and ran into you.
That's not what they're...
And, by the way, the report reflects there was no evidence of anybody being under the influence.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
So they noted that both of you drove off of the scene in your vehicle.
No,
so,
sir.
excuse me,
doesn't
what
really
that means is we are right down the middle
Doesn't matter
in
what you
terms
say
of
now.
what happened. I think you're exaggerating, and I think you're getting all wired up. Maybe you were feeling good, but I don't know. So what do we have here? You rear-ended her, which is what we've got. You've got an estimate. Total replacement parts were $3,103.68. Labor and tax, etc., $2,546. But your jurisdictional limit is $3,000. It's been fascinating, but see, focus on the issues. $3,000 in your cost.
Courtroom is now in recess. Right.
I guess, obviously, I was wrong.
You think?
Or I didn't understand who rear-ended who. I wasn't able to tell. I mean, I could rewatch the thing, but I really don't want to kill any more brain cells. But it sounded like what he said is that it didn't matter if the police said that they made a sudden left turn and they couldn't stop in time. That, I guess, doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter!
They should have been traveling at a safer distance. So judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000, even though their claim was for almost $7,000. This was my reaction to Judge Joe Brown presiding over a case of being drunk at a wedding and going to the car to retrieve your weapon. Oh my gosh. Please never, ever, ever say that under oath. That is not the best statement to make, because it can be, it's public record, number one, and then it can be used subsequently anytime in the future. So please don't do that. My name is Damon with Complete. Thank you for rocking with me again. I'm going to do another video. I'm going to try to find a Judge Joe Brown wedding video where it actually talks about something in a wedding besides people getting drunk and getting black and mild flicked in them and retrieving their weapons. So stay tuned on that. You can definitely check out all of my other reactions. I've got some coming out all the time. And this one right here is what YouTube says is going to be the best video for you to view of mine. So check out either one. And I appreciate you coming and rocking with me. And I will see you on the next one.